Today, I am bringing you my top 4 deep dynasty startup sleepers going into the 2023 season. These are guys I'm going to be targeting around 13, 14, 15, even later than that if they do fall in that range. But before we get into the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and let me know which player you are targeting in the late rounds of your dynasty startup. And as always, guys, we have partnered with Mason over there with Flock Fantasy. Go to flockfantasy.com/lands. You can get 30% off, and we have bonus content, our rankings, really great articles, not only for myself and Zach, but all the other content creators out there. Once again, flockfantasy.com/land. Make sure you use our promo code. Use a promo code because you get a lot of good stuff over there. Let's get straight into the video. My first player I'm going to be targeting in the late rounds of a dynasty startup, and a guy that has been forgotten, who was finished as a wide receiver 10 in 2021. That's Hunter Renfrow. Okay, let's not forget Hunter Renfrow. Like I said, finished as a literally wide receiver 10 in 2021, over 120 targets, 9 touchdowns, was averaging 15.2 fantasy points per game. He was doing his thing over there with Derek Carr before they got Davante Adams and everything. Right now, you look at the Las Vegas Raiders, they get rid of Derek Carr. You have Davante Adams. You get rid of Darren Waller. Josh Jacobs has had a top 5 season. Now you're kind of in this limbo area. It's like right in the gray area. What's going to happen? Are they going to rebuild? Are you going to try still compete? I think you're in a bit of an awkward situation. We all expected this new Las Vegas Raiders to really step up, but they finished 6 and 11, and now they're in a prime position to get a quarterback, whether that's Will Levis or Anthony Richardson. Let's see what's going to happen. But I think Hunter Renfrow could definitely play a massive part in that. This past year in 2022, Hunter Renfrow finished as wide receiver 92. He did miss 7 games. He had a couple of injuries, but he had a couple of concussions. He had a hamstring injury and all those other things for Hunter Renfrow. But once again, let's not forget what he did in 2021, wide receiver 10, a guy that was he was a really good wide receiver 2. Starting him each and every week, and maybe some of these guys had him as your flex option. But Hunter Renfrow, a year removed now from that season, can he get back to it? I think he can. Jimmy G is in town, a guy that knows how to spread the ball around. Is he the most efficient quarterback ever? I would say not, but I think he is efficient for fantasy. So now he's playing with Davante Adams and Hunter Renfrow. And I know you're probably saying, well, the Las Vegas Raiders are probably going to draft, some talent. Absolutely. Hunter Renfrow is not the answer, but taking a flyer on a guy like Hunter Renfrow in the late rounds, I think could be an absolute great thing for your team, right? So why not go and acquire Hunter Renfrow in rounds, once again, 13, 14, 15, and later for nothing? Okay, Jimmy G is known to spread the ball around. We saw him in San Francisco, Jawan Jennings, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle. And yes, once again, the Raiders could draft a wide receiver, could draft a quarterback, could even draft a tight end in these later rounds now that Darren Waller is gone. But right now, Hunter Renfrow feels like the solidified wide receiver 2 on this team until the NFL draft. And I know some guys like to draft before the NFL draft, and Hunter Renfrow could be that guy that's going to continue to fall. And you say, hey, he's there. Why not go take a flyer on him? Now let's look at the other side of that thought process. If you already have that dynasty startup, you already have your dynasty team, and you may be looking to somehow acquire Hunter Renfrow if you really want to. You can. Not saying you should, but you definitely can. Hunter Renfrow for Devin Singletary right now, according to Keep Trade Cut, is an even trade. Does Devin Singletary even make this team? Do the Houston Texans invest in another running back, and Singletary is lost in the depth charts? Zay Jones, who also is lost in depth charts over there with the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just acquired Calvin Ridley. Christian Kirk is clearly the guy with Travis Etienne going to be taking a next step. And then picks 304 is very equivalent to Hunter Renfrow according to community. Normally you take a flyer there with some of those guys. I don't know if you want to do the 304, but you definitely can. Once again, I'm not saying these are guys you should go out and trade, but if you do want to go out and inquire and see, I am giving you prices for some of these guys. So go and see if you can get Hunter Renfrow in those late rounds. My second guy that you should be targeting in your deep rounds is Josh Palmer, 25-cent Palmer. Definitely go check him out. He's a guy that I think is, once again, very slept on. Also lost in the depth charts with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams there. But we need to remember that some of those guys could be walking here. Keenan Allen, 30 years old. He did miss a lot of games last year. He missed 7 games last year. And Mike Williams, 28 years old. He missed 4 games last year. That's a lot of games combined for Keenan Allen and Mike Williams there for Josh Palmer to boost his opportunity on the field. Okay, I mean, do we remember the game where I think it was week 11? He just went off against the Kansas City Chiefs. If I'm not mistaken, it was Sunday night or Monday night. It was a primetime game. He had 10 targets, over 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That is Josh Palmer's capability. If I'm not mistaken, Zach even said he was a must start because the Chiefs were giving up a lot of points to wide receivers at the time. 6'2", 210 pounds, only 23 years old, and he was a 3rd round pick out of Tennessee. Josh Palmer is a guy that I truly believe can take a big uptick in production. And it's the same thing with some of all these guys I'm bringing you today. Not saying these are solidified guys. These are guys that are going to be getting all the opportunity, but they can. They can if Mike Williams, Keenan Allen misses some time. They can if Austin Eckler is gone. But I know the Chargers are in a prime position to draft a wide receiver at pick 21, to draft a tight end at pick 21. Is that, once again, a Doza Kincaid, a Michael Mayer, a Zay Flower, whoever it is, Jackson Smith and Jigba, whoever it is, Josh Palmer is there right now. Josh Palmer is somebody that they invested in. They've taken their time. They saw him progress, especially when these other players on his team were struggling to stay healthy. But once again, Josh Palmer going in the 13th, 14th, 15th round and later, he is a guy that I can definitely see take a big uptick in production. Finished wide receiver 37 this year, over 107 targets, nearly 800 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Can he play a full season if Keenan Allen or Mike Williams are gone after this? And can we see him go into the low 20s, mid 20s as a wide receiver? Let's just say wide receiver 25, wide receiver 24. Josh Palmer can definitely be that. He was averaging 10.6 fantasy points per game last year. Give him another 3 or 2 targets per game. He can definitely take a massive uptick in production. Once again, especially if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams is gone. So once again, I would definitely be trying to target Josh Palmer if they do not invest in some of these other wide receivers. Okay. Now, if you have Josh Palmer and willing to trade for him, you're willing to say, okay, I already have my dynasty startup. What's the price? Josh Palmer for James Conner. I am really happy to do that right now. I think this is probably the fairest and easiest price right now. And there's some other people, because Josh Palmer is so young, he's kind of up there right now. He's according to community 62. That's up there in the low depth, the deeps of the wide receivers. So Josh Palmer, James Conner, I think it's a great swap. I see this Arizona Cardinals going in a different direction with the running back in the NFL draft. So I would definitely go and try to acquire Josh Palmer for that. And if not, see if you can snag him in your dynasty startups. And my third guy that you should be targeting in the late rounds of your dynasty startup is a homer pick. I like to kind of bring these homer picks. You know me, it's okay. It's my video. Isaiah Hodgins. I would say also Darius Slay in this one take as well. I think both of these guys could be some late flyers if you want to take the chance, okay? Isaiah Hodgins, though, a guy that I really like. He kind of came onto the scene around week 8, week 9 for the Giants. He got picked up around week 8, week 9, and then saw himself on the field in week 10. He finished wide receiver 74, okay? He didn't really get too much of production until, once again, he got into the Giants. He was averaging 11.1 points per game. And what's crazy about this is that he's only played 7 games with the Giants. Imagine if that was extrapolated into a full 17-game season. And I did do that. I did do that for you, so don't worry. I didn't have to do the math. Once again, he finished as wide receiver 74. If he played all 17 games for the start of the season for the New York Giants, he would have finished as wide receiver 22. Now, that is exciting. It sounds exciting, right? It sounds like, okay, Daniel Jones can come in, he gets a contract extension. They bring Isaiah Hodgins in for another year. They get Darren Waller. Saquon's coming back. The field is going to open up. I would say yes and no, because the expectation is that they bring another wide receiver, right? They extend Darius Slayton. They bring in Paris Campbell. It's going to be a jumble now. I will put my money on it is that it's going to be Isaiah Hodgins that's probably going to be winning the job over Darius Slayton, right? You bring Darius Slayton back on a 2-year contract deal, which is really more of a 1-year deal, now having the out after the 2023 season. Hodgins was picked up off the waiver wires, and I do believe, Brian Daboll and Joe Shane like Isaiah Hodgins' work. He was a lot more consistent as well versus Darius Slayton, who had a lot of drops, a lot of inconsistencies throughout the season, and Hodgins comes in and automatically picks up the offense. So that's why I say both of these guys in one, because you kind of pick your poison. Both of these guys are going around the same area. So if you can't get Isaiah Hodgins, sure, he's wide receiver 71 right now, according to the community. Why not take a flyer? If we do get a DeAndre Hopkins, does he miss some games with a hamstring? Does Darren Waller miss some games with a hamstring and you got to step up? We were ridiculed with injuries. With the Giants, all these guys went down with injuries. When is Wan'Dale Robinson going to be ready to come back as well? Isaiah Hodgins can step in, or Darius Slayton once again. So I like both of these guys coming in. If you really want to go out and acquire them, I'll give you Isaiah Hodgins right now, because I think he's a better price versus Darius Slayton. Isaiah Hodgins right now, you can go get Nico Collins. Send Nico Collins for Isaiah Hodgins right now. You can send a Michael Gallup for Isaiah Hodgins as well. You can also send the 302 in a dynasty in a rookie draft for Isaiah Hodgins if you really want to take that chance. I would keep the 302 personally. But those are some guys and some picks that you can go out and acquire for Hodgins. So once again, not a guy I believe is going to take off and skyrocket, but if the opportunity is there for him, he will definitely make the most out of it. So don't sleep on Isaiah Hodgins in those late rounds. The last player that you should be targeting in your late rounds of your dynasty startup, a guy that I think could be really exciting, Van Jefferson. Okay, a guy that kind of gets lost. Another guy that you get lost in the depth chart, but if the opportunity is there, he can definitely take it and grasp it with his hands, right? Van Jefferson this past year in 2022 finished as wide receiver 93. He didn't miss the first 6 or 7 games of the season. And let me remind you that they did trade for Allen Robinson. And now there are rumors that Allen Robinson is looking to move on, or the Rams looking to move on from Allen Robinson, trying to see what value they can go get for him. But Van Jefferson, like if the Rams don't look into acquiring some more talent on this team, this looks like a full rebuild, and Van Jefferson is probably going to be part of that. Okay, the Rams don't have a first-round pick. The Rams have a second-round pick with the 36th pick overall in the second round. Now, do they go wide receiver? Absolutely not. Yeah, this team needs so much. You need defensively, offensive linemen, DBs. They just traded away Jalen Ramsey. There's so many other positions that this team needs to pivot to and need to start building their foundation before they get a wide receiver. And that's why I believe Van Jefferson can take a massive step up. Cooper Kupp is coming back. He did miss the second half of the season in 2022. But if Allen Robinson does leave, who's there? Ben Skoranek? No, thank you. Are they going to bring back OBJ? I really doubt it, because OBJ wants to go to a top team, right? A contender right now. And it's crazy to say that. Are the Rams contenders? On paper, yes. But I really don't think so. Okay. They have Tutu Atwell already. You just kind of saw the glimpses of him coming up in the second half of the season when Baker Mayfield is there. But I think Van Jefferson easily trumps him. He's gonna move up into his spot, right? But if this only works if Allen Robinson walks, right? Allen Robinson gets traded, and I do believe he can and will get traded. What's crazy is that Allen Robinson really did nothing for this team. Very disappointing. He was, if I'm not mistaken, he was a Zach's my guy. I mean, he was both of our my guys. We both believed that he was going to take off. We both believed he would finish top 12 with Cooper Kupp there and Matthew Stafford, and that wasn't the case. But Van Jefferson, a year removed from being wide receiver 36, having over 89 targets in 2021, 802 yards and 6 touchdowns. He was the guy that was at times becoming a really good flex option, and we saw the uptick going into 2022. but then they get Allen Robinson. What happens if that didn't happen? Could he have gone up even higher into the low 20s, mid 20s? Absolutely, there with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. So can he definitely take the next step? Absolutely. Can Allen Robinson walk? Absolutely. Can we see Van Jefferson go into the mid to low 20s? Absolutely. He just needs the opportunity, and this is why these are deep guys that you should be going out and acquiring for your fantasy team. Guys, you should go and acquire for. You can trade if you want to trade for Van Jefferson. You can do this right now. Hunter Henry for Van Jefferson. Why not take a flyer if you don't have if you're okay with tight ends? Mike White, now he's in Miami. Why not go take a flyer with Van Jefferson? Jerome Ford, a guy that Zach and I both believe in. If the Browns do draft a running back, Jerome Ford is dead once again. So why not go and try and acquire one of these guys and see how they go? Once again, guys, Van Jefferson, Isaiah Hodgins, Josh Palmer, and Hunter Renfrow, all guys I'm willing to take a late flyer in my deep dynasty stashes here, or dynasty startups. Once again, rounds 13, 14, 15, and later for some of these guys. These guys aren't going to be, you know, day one starters. Guys are going to be going to be developing over time, over the season. Okay, so keep that in mind. And as always, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell me if my takes are shit. It's classic. I'm okay with it. Tell me if it's good. That's also really great. But as always, it's all love.
Now that those idiots are done talking, who needs some rankings?
Hell yeah, I need some rankings.
Then use promo code LAND, L-A-N-D, for 30% off any membership at flockfantasy.com.
Oh.
It's so easy. Even your grandma could scan that QR code right there.